Hello and welcome to my channel. Before starting, support the channel by liking this video and subscribing to this channel for future updates. Today we're going to talk about Spanish Church Museum. The history of Spain is written in the architecture of its churches. Here are 10 of the most iconic ones. Earlier versions of the descriptions of these churches first appeared in 1001 Amazing Places You Must See Before You Die, edited by Richard Cavendish, 2016. Writers' names appear in parentheses. 1. Burgos Cathedral. Northern Spain's Burgos Cathedral is a masterpiece of Gothic architecture dedicated to the Virgin Mary. Laid out in a Latin cross plan, the church is famous for its stained glass windows, artworks, choir stalls, chapels, tombs, statuary, and the fine tracery of its open stonework. It drew its inspiration from churches constructed in northern France during the 13th century and is a fine example of how the Spanish adapted the French Gothic style, making it their own. 2. Cathedral of Santiago. The name of the city of Santiago de Compostela is known and revered throughout the Roman Catholic world. Its links with the relics of St. James, Santiago in Spanish, have made it the most important destination for pilgrims after Jerusalem and Rome. The city's Cathedral of Santiago is certainly worthy of a visit in its own right. It has the unusual distinction of being a Romanesque building concealed within the shell of a Baroque exterior. The original church was founded in the 9th century, but this building was destroyed by the Moors in 997. 3. Cathedral of the Holy Cross and Street Eulalia. Known locally as La Seu, the Cathedral of the Holy Cross and Street Eulalia in Barcelona is a large Gothic edifice whose sheer, slender towers seem to pierce the sky. The cathedral took 150 years to complete. It was begun in the 13th century but was not finished until the mid-15th century. Much of its impressive Gothic facade was created in the 19th century. 4. Cathedral of Valencia. Not only is this beautiful cathedral a major part of Valencia's outstanding Gothic architecture, but it also houses what is claimed to be the Holy Grail. This is the chalice often said to have been used at the Last Supper and subsequently by Joseph of Arimathea to catch blood from the wounds of the crucified Christ. 5. Granada Cathedral. This historic building took a staggering 180 years to create. Construction began in 1523, but the final stone was not laid until 1704. Part of the reason it took so long was the spread of the Black Death, plague, which claimed millions of lives across Europe. The cathedral's epic timescale means that it was built by several generations of laborers and artisans from the same families, and that it embraces varied architectural styles from Gothic to Renaissance. 6. La Sagrada Familia. Building La Sagrada Familia in Barcelona was a labor of love for Catalonia's most famous, and perhaps favorite, son, architect Antoni Gaudí. He all but abandoned his commercial work to construct what was intended to be his piece de resistance and also an act of religious faith. He designed it to be what he called a church for the poor, and its construction was funded by donations alone. Building began in 1883, but the structure was not finished at Gaudí's death in 1926, nor was it complete at the turn of the 21st century. 7. Royal Chapel. The Royal Chapel in Granada is the final resting place of the two monarchs who united Spain. Isabel I of Castell's marriage to Ferdinand II of Aragon joined their kingdoms. Their conquest of Granada, the last Muslim territory in Spain, was viewed as the greatest achievement of their reign. It contributed to Pope Alexander VI's styling them as the Catholic monarchs. The Gothic design of the chapel reflects Isabella's dislike of the Renaissance style, whereas the neighboring Granada Cathedral, built between 1523 and 1704, is more in the Renaissance mode. 8. Seville Cathedral. Seville Cathedral is an excellent example of Gothic architecture. Originally, it was the site of an Almohad mosque that was knocked down by the Spanish, who wanted to build a church on a suitably grand scale to reflect the city's position as an affluent trading center. Construction began about 1400 on the rectangular foundations of the mosque, and the structure took more than 100 years to finish. 9. Toledo Cathedral. Toledo Cathedral is one of Spain's most impressive buildings. It was inspired by the vast Gothic cathedrals of Northern Europe, such as Chartres, but added an exciting new ingredient, the rich combination of cultural styles that can be found only on the Iberian Peninsula. The cathedral was begun by a little-known architect, Master Martin, but most of the work was initiated by Petrus Petri, who died in 1291. The predominant style is Gothic, although building took place over such a long period that, inevitably, other influences can be found. 10. Valladolid Cathedral. King Philip II commissioned architect Juan de Herrera to design Valladolid Cathedral, or the Catedral de la Nuestra Señora de la Asunción in the 16th century. Herrera was well known for his austere design of a combined palace and religious house northwest of Madrid, the Royal Monastery of San Lorenzo de El Escorial, which was also commissioned by the king. The great Spanish architect was responsible for spearheading a new style, Herreran, featuring carefully proportioned geometric lines and an absence of decoration and gesturing toward the classical, whose influence can be seen throughout Spain. If you think that Spanish museums are only for lovers of fine art, we have some good news for you. You'll be thrilled to see museums on archaeology, science, underwater archaeology museums, museums on surrealism, and more in Spain. 1. El Prado, Madrid. Located in Madrid, the Prado Museum is a Spanish national art museum and is one of the most famous Spanish museums. This national art museum was first opened to the general public in the year 1819 and houses some of the most iconic artworks that date back to the 12th century. El Prado is often described as a museum of painters as it is a display of the artists' work collectively, including the works of Titian, El Greco, Rubens, Bosch, and Goya. 2. Museu Nacional d'Art de Catalunya, Barcelona. The Museu Nacional d'Art de Catalunya is one of the top Spanish museums, displaying pieces that represent medieval Gothic art, medieval Romanesque art, Renaissance and Baroque art, as well as modern art along with prints, posters, drawings, and photographed pictures. The museum also regularly holds fun family activities, concerts, conferences on cinema, and holds exhibitions for visitors to see. 3. The Reina Sofia National Arts Center, Madrid. The Reina Sofia Center was opened to the public in the year 1990 and houses a major collection of international and Spanish works of art that represent the art of the late 19th century. Just 2 years after the museum was opened to the public, the world-famous Pablo Picasso Guernica was installed in the museum. There will never be a dull moment when you at Reina Sofia, as all the 18,000 pieces have been rearranged, displaying the theme of surrealism, the pavilion of the 1937 Republic, and the Spanish informalism of the 1950s for the public to see. 4. Guggenheim Museum, Bilbao. The magnificent Guggenheim Museum was designed by Frank O. Gehry, an American architect. The museum exhibits modern and contemporary artistic masterpieces. Open to the public in the year 1997, this museum has a beautiful floral sculpture of a dog constructed by Jeff Koons, which has become the international symbol of Bilbao over the years. The Guggenheim Museum also displays the works of David Sell, Louis Bourgeois, Robert Rauschenberg, and Jeff Koons. 5. The Dalí Theatre Museum, Figueres. The Dalí Theatre Museum displays the life and work of the world-renowned surrealism genius Salvador Dalí. Located in the former Municipal Theater, the Dalí Museum is often described as the largest surrealist object and is a gateway to all the works of Salvador Dalí, showcasing all of the artist's masterpieces, ranging from his first works of art to his greatest masterpieces. When you visit this art and science center, we are sure you marvel at the architecture and design of the place. Thanks for watching.